So let's do this reliably, by stacking up clues. No guesswork. By the end, you'll know how to spot the signs pointing toward a male or a female, and when only a DNA test can truly confirm it. First, age matters. How old is your cockatiel? Because before their first major molt, usually between 6 and 9 months, many cockatiels look almost identical. That's where most people get fooled. A young bird might show markings that later disappear, or retain a baby-like appearance longer than expected. So, if your bird is under a year old, treat those visual clues as temporary until the molt is finished. Now, one of the most overlooked clues is literally right underneath your bird, the underside of the tail. In the classic normal gray cockatiel, a bird leaning toward female often retains horizontal bars under the tail, those faint stripes visible when the tail feathers are fanned out in good light. A bird leaning toward male, after the first molt, usually shows a cleaner underside with far less barring. And here's the part no one makes clear. You can't confirm this by looking head-on. You need a quick, stress-free glance during a calm moment, good lighting, no chasing, no sticking your finger in their face. Just a gentle opportunity to see the underside when they stretch or move around on their perch. A similar clue can appear under the wing spots or patterns that, in certain birds, may point more toward a female. But I have to be honest, color mutations change everything. Lutino, pied, pearl, whiteface. These can mask the usual rules, or make them seem inconsistent. That's why we don't rely on just one clue. We're going to build a case. Now let's talk about the clue people like best. Face color. In many normal grays, after that first molt, birds leaning toward being male often develop a brighter yellow face and more intense orange cheek patches. Birds leaning toward being female usually retain a duller or more grayish face. But this clue fails all the time, when the bird is young, when the lighting is deceptive, or when a mutation rewrites the entire color pattern. So yes, the face can help, but it shouldn't be your only deciding factor. Now we come to the part that really changes how you view your bird, behavior. Because your cockatiel isn't just sitting there. They are communicating constantly, and certain behaviors appear much more frequently in cockatiels leaning toward being male, especially in the typical US pet home environment. Have you ever noticed your cockatiel performing long sequences of whistles, repeating patterns as if practicing a song? That isn't random. In many cockatiels, this is a display behavior, basically, watch me. And if your bird puts on that classic little show standing tall with the crest raised, pacing back and forth, and performing the heart wing display, wings held slightly away from the body in a V shape, that is a very strong indicator of a male in many birds. And here's the emotional twist. They often do this for you. You become their audience. Your cockatiel learns what grabs your attention. They repeat what works. They aren't passive. Your bird is actively building a relationship with you in real time. Once you realize that, you stop just checking feathers and start understanding the intent. Cockatiels that lean towards being female can also be very vocal and playful, though many tend to be less showy with whistling routines and displays. Some are quieter, more observant, and less inclined to repeat that characteristic practice whistle pattern. But, and this matters, personality is real. Some males are quiet. Some females are bold. That is why behavior is a powerful clue, but only when it aligns with physical signs and the bird's age or molting stage. So, think of it this way. Physical markings are your body clues. Behavior is your intention clue. Age and molting determine when these clues become reliable. Now, here is the truth most people need to hear. With many mutations, you might not be able to confidently tell a male from a female just by looking. That's where a DNA sex test becomes the clearest answer. It doesn't care about lighting, personality, or color mutation. It simply gives you the answer. But even if you never do a DNA test, you can still get much closer to the truth than most owners by observing the right things. Barring on the underside of the tail, markings on the undersides of the wings, facial changes after the first molt, where applicable, and especially those repetitive whistling routines and display behaviors. Here is your simple checklist. Start with age. Then, check the underside of the tail in good light. Next, look under the wings whenever possible. Then, consider the brightness of the face after the first molt in normal gray varieties. And finally, observe behavior. Whistling and performing heart wings usually point toward males, less performance might point toward females, especially when it aligns with the markings. Now tell me, what is the one sign you've never paid attention to until now? Tail barring? The first molt? The heart wings display? Leave a comment with your cockatiel's age and color mutation, because that changes the whole game, and I'll help you interpret the clues you're seeing at home.